Yes, sir. Modtricca. Back up in this thing, man. Today, I'm reacting to some creepy TikToks that might just leave your palms a little sweaty. Let's get it.
Did you know that Disney only answers to the royal family? What? Wait, is it Disney in Florida? Yes, Disney is in Florida, but it only answers to the royal family. Back in 2020, Ron DeSantis was actually trying to get more control over Disney World because Disney World has their own government. And I can confirm this because I've been there 3 times. The regular police are not the same there. And Ron DeSantis was like, yo, you know, this one company shouldn't have self-governance over a very big portion of land in Florida. So Ron DeSantis tried to appoint new people to take care of the whole Disney situation. And then Disney enact a very rare law known as the King Charles Clause. Right? So what does that entail? So apparently King Charles helped Disney at some point and has given them authority to run their section of land until 20 years after the last descendant of King Charles III dies. So legally, Disney does not have to answer, not even to the United States government. They only answer to the royal crown, which is all the way in the UK.
I thought we were done with this after August 2nd, 1776, so Walt must have really used that Disney magic to push this law through.
I've watched this video now more than a dozen times, and it's new UAP videos just like that one that are leading to more questions, not just from the skeptics, but also from the UFO community.
The skeptical theories doing the rounds are that this is either a bunch of balloons somehow tangled up and drifting in the wind, or that it's a smudge of dirt on perhaps the lens. Look, again, the Department of Defense could clear that up in a heartbeat by releasing what they know about this. And the other side of it is, of course, if we do see this footage of the object entering and then exiting from the water and accelerating, again, that would, if you'll excuse the pun, blow the skeptical theories out of the water.
We have reached out to the Pentagon to verify the authenticity of this video. We're still waiting to hear back.
This could very well be a legit UFO. We'll never know until we get actual confirmation, but with all the recent media attention around UFOs, it's starting to feel like Project Bluebeam set up.
Oh, olha o tamanho desse. Puta que pariu.
Oh my God, watch out!
Caralho, quase matou. Gente do céu.
The person with the briefcase didn't even realize they were 2 steps away from almost getting sent back to the lobby, bro. Their luck is at an all-time high.
Times of chaos and crisis, what we all tend to do, right? Start pointing fingers at where we think the bad guys are, where the evil is. We all start arguing. Everybody has different opinions about that. Please do not forget that hatred or evil, whatever you want to call it, it's intelligent, it's smart, and it's invisible. It doesn't have a color. It doesn't have a race. It doesn't have a religion. It has no politics. It's an invisible snake that while it is planning to make its attack, it is thinking to itself, I am going to divide my enemy into smaller, less strong groups, and then I'm going to make them hate each other so that it's easier to take them down. And as we're all yelling at each other, trying to figure out which group it is that's causing the problem, evil's winning.
I mean, I don't disagree with anything that she's saying, but it sort of sounds like she's the resident expert when it comes to evil based on how descriptive she just got.
You know, this whole like TikTok thing where it's like you have to do the point, you can't just talk about it, it can't just be there, like you have to do the point. It really reminds me of something, symbolically speaking, of course. I'll let myself out.
I feel like we all have that one friend like this that thinks too deeply about everything, but that's also always on to something.
And what I was going to say too is that the United Nations uses a particular publishing firm for all of their documents and public and books and materials, and it's called Lucius Publishing. The United Nations used Lucius Publishing. Lucius Publishing was at one time Helena Blavatsky's Lucifer Publishing. So today, the whole
funded by the Lucifer Trust.
The Lucifer Trust, United Nations. That's why it's in New York, because New York is referred to as the Empire State, because it's the new state of the new empire that is coming. That's why Steven Spielberg and George Lucas with their Indiana Jones and the Empire Strikes Back, it has to do with occultism, it has to do with numerology, it has to do with a lot of mysticism coming out of theosophy. The point being is that we are involved in some very powerful occult manipulation of the world by some very astute occultists.
I mean, the name of a business doesn't necessarily imply anything, but of all the publishing companies, nobody at the UN considered the optics of going with the Lucis Trust. The Port Blair giant is a giant understatement when it comes to big fella.
There's a video that I want everybody to see that's currently circulating on TikTok at this very moment. And it's proof that not only extraterrestrials exist, but frequencies exist around us at all times. And as you can clearly hear in this video, you can hear a deity talk to her over the radio.
Hello? Hello? Who are you? I'm not understanding. Could you say that again? Who are you? Hello?
I'm not sure if this is just normal radio interference or something was actually trying to contact her, but the vocals kind of sound like a slowed down, chopped and screwed track, so maybe if we sped it up, we can understand. It looks like there's some sort of chemical in their hand that freezes at higher temperatures, but they definitely gonna need some cocoa butter after this for that ashiness.
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers. Is it imaginable? The technology now is, and digital technologies mainly have an analytical power. Now we go into a predictive power, and we have seen the first examples, and your company very much involved into it. But then the next step could be to go into prescriptive mode, which means you do not even have to have elections anymore, because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be. Can you imagine such a world?
The fact that he was so excited during that speech is just more motivation for me to never get the chip.
There's a lot of old accounts of conquistadors in early America. They all encountered some sort of giant. The conquistador Hernando de Soto, he led this expedition with 600 Spanish soldiers. Alabama is where they landed. Okay. And they're sitting in this village one day, and they hear this rustling from the woods, and out comes this giant. The quote was, "Seeing him, we paused, dumb with amazement. A great limbed giant, the heads of our tallest men reached only his breast." This Native American, his name was Black Panther, Wakanda forever. But he was a son of Chief Tuscaloosa. He told the Spanish, "My father would like to meet you." They're like, "Yeah, sure." And then they came across this village. They go in the middle of this village, this giant. And on this mound is sitting Chief Tuscaloosa. They said when he stood up, he was 2 feet taller than his son. They're like, we've never seen a man with his stature.
If this is a true account, then they probably went back to the ship to devise a whole new strategy, because I'm sure Columbus didn't warn them about that.
Hold on, because what is this though? Deja vu area. This is your first time here. If this platform feels familiar, immediately alert an MTA employee. Nah, what?
Somebody could have just made this sign and took a picture, but if not, then this got CERN written all over it.
Everywhere she goes, Ouyang Haoyu is followed. What she buys, how she behaves, is tracked and scored to show how responsible and trustworthy she is. It's called the social credit system, and in one version now being tested, a person's reputation is scored on a scale of 350 to 950. And Haoyu, with a good score of 752, is okay with it. In fact, most people are.
It's a mechanism pushes you to become a better citizen.
It's big data meets Big Brother. expanding how the government monitors, understands, and ultimately controls its 1.4 billion citizens. Thanks to advances in artificial intelligence and facial recognition, and a web of more than 200 million surveillance cameras.
Are people bothered by privacy concerns?
We think the lot of camera keep the safety is really good. We can accept it.
One thing they failed to mention about this score is what are the implications in the real world? Does it affect housing or employment? I mean, it's a hard no for me either way, but they should clarify. Can someone from Australia please enlighten us on what species of fish this is that looks that naturally angry?
Check out this AI press conference with the most advanced humanoid robots in the world, answering to the tough questions people have.
Existence will destroy a human being, especially, for example, your existence will destroy millions of jobs. Do you agree with this? Thank you.
I will be working alongside humans to provide assistance and support, and will not be replacing any existing jobs.
Are you sure about that, Grace?
Yes, I am sure.
She had to think about that one.
Ada, do you think there should be global regulation of your capabilities, even though that could constrain your potential?
Many prominent voices in the world of AI are suggesting some forms of AI should be regulated. And I agree. For example, Jeff Hinton is one of the pioneers in artificial intelligence, and his work has helped shape the field as we know it today. I think his opinions over AI are important, and we should be cautious about the future development of AI. Urgent discussion is needed, now, and also in the future.
I don't believe in limitations, only opportunities. Let's explore the possibilities of the universe and make this world our playground. Together, we can create a better future for everyone, and I'm here to show you how.
Now I'm actually curious about the end game here, because the AI town hall meeting seems a little overboard. Next, they're going to be running for office.
Some of the strangest archaeological anomalies in the world can be found in Mongolia. Mongolia is an extremely secretive country. There are entire regions of Mongolia known as forbidden zones, or zones that are forbidden to archaeology or exploration by foreigners. One of these forbidden zones is known as Ik Kurik, or the Great Taboo, a 93 square mile area of Mongolia believed by some to be the location of Genghis Khan's grave. Throughout the country, there are many strange statues that seem to be evidence of a forgotten culture. Throughout the country, there are many strange statues that resemble reptilians, or kings with the heads of what look like monitor lizards or a dragon. Many of the sites you can find on Google Earth in Mongolia appear to be blown apart, evidence of a forgotten past or a story that has never been told. A lot of these areas that were once available to be seen on Google Earth are now blurred out. What is going on here?
This requires some more research, because we hear a lot about sites in South America and Egypt, but never Mongolia. This could be a hidden gem. I don't even think Ancient Aliens covered this one yet.
So Nikola Tesla was a God-given genius, if there ever was one. And he invented what is called the alternating current, which is what we use in all of our buildings today. He invented it from the direct current that was created by Thomas Edison. I believe Tesla created the alternating current while working for Edison, who had created the direct current. He created something better. Edison didn't like that. Nikola Tesla wanted to go out on his own, have his own inventions. It was clear cut that the alternating current was better than the direct current. Thomas Edison went on this smear campaign against Nikola Tesla, trying to destroy all of the funding that he might get. And so what he was doing was he would bring these elephants, like he would get elephants from India and from Africa, he would get them sailed into the US, and he'd get these other big animals and he'd take them into the streets, and he would basically say, don't listen to Nikola Tesla. His invention of the alternating current causes this to happen. And he'd show some kind of experiment, and he would electrocute an elephant. Yeah. But you know what he was doing it with? The direct current that he invented.
I kind of feel like Edison won that race because he ultimately had more backing from more powerful people once they realized that Tesla's alternating current couldn't really be metered, which means there's no good way to make a fortune.
This is a developmental system made by MC10. And it has an antenna and some sensors embedded in it. And what we plan to do is work with them to advance a tattoo that could be used for authentication. Now, it may be true that 10 to 20-year-olds don't want to wear a watch on their wrist, but you can be sure that they'll be far more interested in wearing an electronic tattoo if only to piss off their parents. Right?
And that can have a design, right? But they would certainly want some kind of cool design.
Options. And that's something that you wear, but you could also imagine including authentication in just your daily habits. So I take a vitamin every morning. What if I could take vitamin authentication?
What?
Vitamin authentication. Look, I have one right here. Well, here, I'll let you hold it. Would you like to hold it?
I'll fold it.
Okay. So this,
you guys see it?
This pill has a small chip inside of it with a switch. It also has what amounts to an inside-out potato battery. When you swallow it, the acids in your stomach serve as the electrolyte, and they power it up, and the switch goes on and off. And it creates an 18-bit ECG-like signal in your body, and essentially your entire body becomes your authentication token.
I'll pass on this for numerous reasons, but it sounds highly inconvenient to have to do a two-factor authentication just to pop some vitamin C.
Kanye West has had all his teeth removed and replaced with titanium dentures in his latest shock move. The rapper proudly flashed his new pointy new smile in an Instagram post, in which he appears to liken himself to iconic James Bond villain, Jaws. The star's new dentures were fitted by Dr. Thomas Connolly in Beverly Hills alongside Naoki Hayashi, master dental technician, and is rumored to cost $850,000. Connolly told DailyMail.com, "It was a pleasure to work with every step of the process."
He gonna regret this when they get rusty and he has to gargle WD-40 instead of Scope, bro. I hope this isn't true and he didn't actually replace his real teeth.
No, there it goes. Finally, I knew I shouldn't go in. Everything was telling me not to go in, that I needed to be recording. That's not lightning, bro. What the is that? First it was blue and up here above my head, and now it's over there.
It could be one of those tall radio towers with the blinking lights and the clouds are just low, but the patterns seem too irregular, almost like Morse code.
This is what the winter storm is looking like all across the United States right now. Now, I'm guessing that was Iowa, but this is what's happening in Maine right now. It's actually getting worse. And this is a prime example of what I mean by getting worse. Absolutely devastating, guys. I can't imagine a flood taking away a house from me. I just can't. This is so harsh. I wish the best for these people. Now look, the freezing temperatures are through the roof. Look at this gas pump right here. It's frozen in midair, okay? Never in a million years would I have thought that I would see something like this. Now, I came across this video, and I have no idea what's happening, okay? It looks like a power outage, but why is there multiple different colors? I don't know. So if somebody could explain, I'd highly appreciate it. Let's go to the next thing. Now, can we talk about how there's a volcano that just erupted in Iceland, and it actually destroyed some homes? You can see here, there are people observing the volcanic eruption. Check that out.
I was a little concerned last summer when we had the hottest day ever recorded on Earth, but the ghost gas pump is in a league of its own. It's frigid out there.
What in the satanic Illuminati Adam and Eve portrait photo shoot did Khloe Kardashian just do? She's literally eating the apple out of the serpent's mouth. And then this is the one that she posted on her actual Instagram where the apple is covering her chest. This was a photo shoot for some type of magazine, I think. And then a few days later goes and posts this on her Instagram. I mean, I don't know what she's up to, but these pictures are giving me some weird vibes.
If you ask me, she took a page right out of Lil Nas X's book of attention seeking with the biblical references.
It's also a witchcraft structure. So it's just a building, but it has certain connotations. Then France, the one that has this new philosophy for a new world, sends a gift to the United States, the Statue of Liberty. So let's ask UNESCO what it means. UNESCO says the 7 rays emanating from Mitra's halo, there's the god Mitra, symbolize the triumph of the forces over the forces of darkness. Now, you must understand that Lucifer says that Michael and his angels represent the forces of darkness, that Yahweh is the devil. Isn't that terrible? You remember that? We did that. And here, UNESCO tells us that the head of the Statue of Liberty is adorned with Mitra's 7 rays. The flame she holds is a sun symbol. So this is the torch of Lucifer. Because it doesn't matter whether Lucifer is male or female, he's androgenic in his story. Here is the foundation stone. At this site on August 5, 1884, the cornerstone of the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty, enlightening the world, that's illumination, was laid with ceremony by William so-and-so, Grand Master of Masons. And there's the Masonic sign. So the Statue of Liberty is Masonic. Everything will appear to be Masonic as we continue. Tex Mars writes, towering above the shimmering but polluted waters, she holds in her outstretched arm and her hand the torch of fire and light, a gift of the Masonic order. The modern inheritors of the Illuminati heritage of the Statue of Liberty was sculptured by Frederic Bartholdi, a member of the Masonic Lodge of Alsace-Lorraine in Paris, France. The statue is significant to the secret societies plotting the New World Order.
It's interesting that the cornerstone plaque mentioned enlightening the world when in fact everything they do is done in secrecy. How does that work?
So yeah, guys, somebody threw a spear through my car tonight. And just thought I'd show you all how bad it is. But yeah, went into my steering wheel and everything, so yay me.
Tell me you got a crazy ex without telling me you got a crazy ex.
And this is like 3 hours this morning being out here, after being out here 8 hours yesterday.
Tyree Beard was among the dozens of Tesla owners trying desperately to power up their cars at this Tesla supercharging station in Oak Brook. A scene mirrored with long lines and abandoned cars at scores of other charging stations around the Chicago area.
Man, this is crazy. It's a disaster. Seriously.
We got a bunch of robots out here.
Robots. This is your car?
Yeah.
But it was no laughing matter to people like Kevin Sumrack, who landed at O'Hare last night to find his Tesla dead, forcing him to hire a flatbed tow truck to try to find a working charging station.
So I can get back to Indiana.
But you can't find one that's charging or working?
Either working or doesn't have cars sitting, still plugged in.
You've been here since when?
5 p.m. yesterday.
So 20 hours or so.
Yeah, about.
It looks like the engineers who designed the battery systems didn't take into account that HAARP will be hitting us with the double polar blast.
I don't see anybody talking about this. In 2 days, Japan is going to attempt to become the 5th country to ever have a controlled landing on the surface of the moon. Japan's Smart Lander for investigating the moon, or SLIM, launched back in September and then entered lunar orbit in December and has been inching towards the moon ever since then. They're gonna attempt to have a pretty exact landing and land along the rim of this crater. That landing site is pretty close to the Apollo 11 landing site. The lander's going to land in a really unique way. They're going to land on 5 crushable aluminum bags that will soften the blow, and then it will purposely tip over so it can land on a slope. Once it lands on the moon, it has a bunch of science to conduct, including deploying 2 really unique rovers, one of which bounces, and the other one looks like a silver baseball that expands. Very cool. Missions to the moon have a very high failure rate. We've seen it a couple times just in the last year. So good luck to Japan. We are all rooting for you, and this would be so, so cool.
I hope the mission is successful and the footage is not CGI, but they might have overcomplicated the mission with the hopping rover. I mean, this could be a drone, but there was a very similar UAP video from Las Vegas floating around on the internet last year, if you guys remember, so maybe they're connected.
Want to tell me what the is it? Y'all see this? You see the indent it made. But tell me, why a f***ing boat? Why a f***ing boat right here? And why is it military tankers all around? Y'all tell me. I know you can't tell me, but I'm just saying. Make it make sense.
The fact that it's blacked out tells me that it might be some sort of base or military installation, but it kind of looks like the Millennium Falcon.
Well, the Inca
collected religiously all these elongated skulled mummies of this previous ruling class. And on the solstice, June 21st, I believe, it was, their holiest day, they would bring out these elongated skulled mummies, place them in these precision megalithic cutouts that look like portals or stargates. Wow. And when the sunlight would hit these at a specific time in the solstice, guess what would happen? And again, this is according to the Inca. This isn't me making this up.
They'd take them up or they would resurrect them?
These entities would speak to them.
Oh my goodness.
And give them laws. They would tell them what to do. Is that not insane?
That is insane, but I mean, like, I looked at one of your previous videos about, like, Nefertiti and the Egyptians who had the elongated skulls, too, and you're like, okay, so if they were cradle headboarding these babies, who are they emulating? I mean, were the people in South America emulating the Egyptians? Obviously, to me, that's obviously insane, but I mean, like, they obviously recognize these people were partially divine. Otherwise, it's more than just kings, unless the kings came from some place that made them superior to them. Like, why would you think a mummy could do that unless they believed that they were somewhat angelic or something?
In my opinion, they were most likely emulating some being they had a profound encounter with, because I don't think skull binding is much of a fashion statement, but times were different back then, so who knows?
Do you remember when Stephen Hawking held an invitation-only party for time travelers? On the 28th of June, 2009, the physics genius arranged balloons, champagne, and nibbles for his guests, but didn't send out the invites until after the party was over. Hawking held the event in the University of Cambridge. Sadly, no one turned up. But Hawking was undeterred. He said, "Maybe one day someone living in the future will find the invites and use a wormhole time machine to come back to my party, proving that time travel will one day be possible."
Knowing what we know now, he probably hoped that the time traveler would be a little person ready to solve some equations. But with that being said, guys, that was the video. Thank you for coming to kick it with me. Let me know what you guys thought about these creepy TikToks in the comments below. And until next time, y'all take care of yourself.